Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our January issue of Leadership Perspectives. This month we are talking to Dr. Durst on the subject of time management, and we're going to do an interview here over a video chat and hopefully get some practical insights for you. Dr. Durst, we're talking about time management this month, and I know this is a big issue for a lot of pastors. Young and old, no matter where you're at in the ministry, managing all the demands on our time is quite a challenge. So, I guess I want to start off by just a simple question: What are some common barriers to effective time management that you've experienced in your time in pastoral ministry, as well as in the district office, or maybe some barriers that you've seen others experience as well? Some challenges that need to be overcome.
I think probably a key barrier is simply not knowing what your priorities are. There was a little book written a number of years ago about the tyranny of the urgent and how too frequently we're just dealing with the things that come our way instead of having a priority list of what we need to do. All of us have the same amount of time. We have the same number of hours in the course of a week, and we're going to fill them up with something. And it's just a matter of what we're going to fill it up with. Wasn't all that long ago, a couple of years ago, I guess, that I had a bunch of our young leaders for one of our days with DP down in New York City, and Jim Simbla at Brooklyn Tap was talking to them. Was talking to them about making decisions and things that they had to do, not necessarily between good and bad, but between better and best. And prioritizing, really having to choose what are the best things that are going to maximize my effectiveness and the use of my energies and my time. What can I do that nobody else can do? And those are really the things we need to concentrate on.
So, in your experience, what are some practical ways to simplify those priorities? I think identifying them is one thing, and simplifying them is another. So, how have you done that personally, and how have you kind of defined what's the most essential things for you to spend your time on?
I've got my list. I have been a list maker almost all of my life, and so I have a list of the activities that I need to do, the projects that I'm working on, the phone calls that I need to make, the emails that I need to do. Jamie helps me with that. In fact, regularly, maybe not daily, but pretty close to that. We go over my to-do list, if you will. And those most important things under each of those categories are the things that I tackle first. So having a list, I think, is crucial, even for folk who have great memories, which I don't necessarily brag on having. It helps to have that punch list of things that you work on.
Awesome. I know that in ministry there's this tension between this list of tasks that we have to do, and then of course the people priorities that we have in our lives. And obviously some of us are more people oriented, and that's where we'll spend our time naturally, and some of us are more task oriented, and that's where we spend our time naturally. But how do you balance that tension in ministry?
Obviously, if we're in ministry, people are our priority, and real needs of individuals and time with people has to come first. But then there are those people who are time users. They're going to come into our lives, and they're going to want all the time that they can get, and that's not going to be efficient use of our time. So my door is always open in the office, unless I'm in some sort of confidential counseling session. Folk have the opportunity to come in. If they need access to me, they have it. The other access that's crucial with people is your family. In pastoral ministry, and even in this position in my office, my family always has access. My kids, my grandkids, my wife, Bev, they all know that they have access to me any time that they need me. Unless it's a dire emergency that I'm tied up with someone else, they're my number one priority. Now, they know, too, that they're not going to interrupt my schedule if I'm in a special meeting or something. But if there is an emergency on the part of my family, they're going to take priority. And I think that's a great lesson for all of our pastors and people in ministry. But then you've got your work list, your punch list of things that you have to do. And it's a matter of asking, really, the Lord for discernment. Where am I going to invest my time best? We can be busy doing things and miss out on relationships, and we can be busy on relationships and not get a whole lot done. So it really becomes a delicate balance of us realizing where we're going to bring, again, what Jim Cymbala said, what's going to be the best use of my time, the best connection that I have with people that's going to invest in their lives, or do I need to do some of those tasks at the desk that are going to enhance relationships and ministries for other people?
Awesome. Now, just kind of piggybacking off of some of the things you said there, I think all of us in ministry experience these unexpected interruptions that we have, especially usually happens on the days where we're the busiest or we've got the most going on. But how do you do that in the midst of a tight schedule? Do you intentionally create space for those things on a weekly basis, or do you just sort of roll with it as it comes? How does that work?
Yes. Honestly, it's both. You can block yourself so full that you don't have time for anything, in which case you don't even have time to be refreshed. When I was doing a lot of counseling as a pastor, I would have Tuesdays and Thursdays that would be my counseling days. I might have 8 to 10 hours of counseling. I would make sure that there were breaks, 15 to 20-minute breaks in between some of those sessions. Likewise, when I'm doing things here in the office, I have to get up from my chair. I have to walk around. So there has to be a break time that you have. And if you factor those in, when somebody walks in for 5 or 10 minutes, you can accommodate it. If somebody comes in for longer than 5 or 10 minutes and I have a lot to do, then I'm the first one to get up. If they see me get up from my chair and move, they're probably going to get up and move too, and that becomes a subtle hint that our time of sitting at my desk or sitting in my office is done without me saying it's time for you to go.
Well, we're going to close up the interview now, but this is our first issue of the new year, and most of our credential holders are looking ahead to 2015 as they're planning out their schedules and their priorities for the new year, and I'm sure prayerfully considering what's the best way to invest their time. Any thoughts you have for them as we start off 2015?
We're probably getting this to everybody toward the end of January, and we will have just come through our 21 days of hunger. We've had 5 other denominations that have joined us for this season of prayer. I believe that prayer is going to be the most vital part of anything that we do in this coming year. It prepares our heart, really plows the ground in our own spirit so that we can be receptive to the dreams that God wants to give us. It helps to build our faith. It reminds us that it's not all about our efforts as much as we try to plan and even juggle our schedules and our tasks and our time with people. That time with the Lord has to be the priority because it influences everything else that we do. So my encouragement, just continue with the seasons of prayer that you've had over these last several weeks with the 21 days of hunger. Continue to be hungry for what God wants to do in your church, and let's believe that this is the best year that God's ever provided for us.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time, Dr. Durst, and we'll look forward to some more interviews in the coming months.
All right. Thanks, Dan.